my question to you is, how much would you like to have your health in your own hands? Because this, if you're the kind of person that's a little bit like me, that would love to know more about how you can take a little bit more control over your healing, then this could be a good video for you. So you might have seen that about 6 months ago now, I was invited to test out something called the Spooky 2 machine, which is a Rife machine. And I jumped at the chance because I love frequency technology. I absolutely love all things to do with frequency and vibration. I mean, after all, I talk about planetary frequencies and vibration. And I tested out the Spooky 2 and I loved it so much so that I've actually bought a second kit. And my parents have bought a kit, and loads of my friends around me in my communities and stuff have bought kits, and they're all using the Spooky 2. Now, the Spooky 2 is fantastic. However, you can't move around with it really easily. You know, it's the kind of thing that you keep at home. It really is ingenious. And so I had been thinking, I wonder if there's something else that's a bit more portable. And funnily enough, when I was looking at the Spooky 2 website, I saw that they had this thing called, or they were selling a product called the MiraMate, a PEMF technology, which is a pulsed electromagnetic frequency device. And so I was kind of curious about it. Anyway, in March, I was invited to test this little fella out. And this is a MiraMate Mini Magic. Now, it just so happened that when I was invited to test this out, I was in a real kind of healing conundrum. And just to give you a little bit of astrological knowledge on this, because obviously this is an astrology channel, I'm right in the middle of my Chiron return. I haven't been ill for years. Really, truly, I haven't been ill for years. And there's a lot of stuff coming out. As you know, with a Chiron return, it's about your emotional, your psychic, your spiritual healing. Everything is underneath it. And of course, my approach to healing is, if I get ill, I'm always asking myself, what am I not acknowledging in myself? Where am I hurting? What's going on? Because I really do think, I'm also a fan of German new medicine, which really talks about, if you've got a sustained emotional trauma and you were isolated when you were dealing with it, then it often leads to a dis-ease, and an illness. So to cut a long story short, I was actually poorly. I was going through my Chiron return, which is the perfect time to tackle your emotional self. And it often can bring up a little bit of latent illness. And that was what was going on. So I was like, bring me this right now, because I don't want to go to the doctors. I had a chest infection. I'm living in another country and I'm not fluent in the language, but I can get by. But I don't really want to go to the doctors. I want to do something myself. And so this unit arrived on the 4th of April. And so what I'm going to do in this video is show you a little bit of how it all fits together. You'll also get to see me unceremoniously pulling it apart when it arrived. My husband, bless him, he caught me. I was like, a really hungry person, like jumping onto a meal. I was just kind of pulling it apart. I was so keen to get working with this, and it's fantastic. It really is. In this video as well, I've put in a conversation that I had with a guy called Bradley Johnson, who is a top trainer on these kinds of products. So he is a really top trainer on Spooky 2. In fact, I think I'm going to contact him and have some lessons on using the Spooky 2. But he also uses this, and he helps people to help themselves. And the great thing with this is, you don't need any training to use it. It's really simple. And, the Spooky 2, the Rife machine that I was using and still am, in fact, I'm doing a load of stuff with the Spooky 2 right now. The Spooky 2 is something that you need to learn, and you do need a bit of patience with it. So this, is fantastic. You can pick it up, learn a few little things about it, and then you're good to go. So that's what I really liked about it. So what I'm going to do then, like I say, you're going to have a little bit of intel with Bradley. I'm going to show you some of these, but what I really want to do more than anything is to give you my feelings about this, how I felt that this worked for me or is working with me. I think this works. I mean, lots of people will talk about the sort of physical sensations that they have and the physical results. But for me, I found that this kind of opened me up. And you'll find in the chat that I have with Bradley a little bit later on in this video, he talks about the fact that we have these heart walls. He talks right at the end. He says, we have heart walls, and this PEMF technology, it opens us up. There's something about it, like it can free us a little bit so that we can uncover things. And I have to say that since I've been using this, not only have I recovered, and I didn't need to go and get antibiotics to have, to get rid of my chest infection. I have bounced back. It took me a while, but I completely got over it. But what else has happened is I've gone through a really strong emotional healing. And to me, that's actually more precious, like that sense that all the old stuff, and again, this is also being worked on with my Chiron return astrologically, but old insecurities, self-sabotages, the things that I was aware of from a spiritual. And when I tune into this, I know that this kind of continuous opening up in me really started with me using this. So that's my thought on it. So anyway, let me tell you or show you a few of these things. So when this arrived, so this is the main control unit, and you can see here it's got three different levels. There's the safe one, the first one, the easy one, the middle, and then the more intense one. I have a tendency to go full on with everything I do. And when I was using this on my daughter, I started on a 1. Eventually she did use a 3. She had a bit of a chest infection as well. I think children bounce back a lot easier, especially if they haven't had a lifetime of insecurities and self-sabotage. So she had 3 like half-hour treatments, and she was done and dusted. It was very easy. So you've got this control unit. You'll see you can just press it, and it's so it's got a clip. And this is what I think is really genius. It makes it really portable. So you can clip it to your trousers, a belt. You can put it in a pocket. I have mine in my jacket pocket. It has, now these are the coils. So my kit came with 2 sets of coils. So this is one set. You'll see that there's 2 wires here, and they're attached to this. This is what goes into the unit. So it's got a little, just on the side, it's got a little indent, and this is where this goes in. You have to put it right in until you hear it click. And then once that's in place, you can turn it on here, which is really, really easy. The thing with the coils is on one side, they're really, really smooth. Can you hear that tapping? Now, it's not normally that loud, but I'm just putting it by my microphone so you can hear that's the speed it's going at. But anyway, on one side, it's really, really smooth. Let me turn that off so you're not getting you can see the light flashing, I think. No. Right. So on one side, it's smooth, and that's, hang on, let me just turn that off. So on one side, it's smooth, and on the other side, it's got these little bumps. You always put the smooth side to your body. Like, so if I was treating, let's just say I wanted some PEMF, some pulsed electromagnetic frequencies to go over my pulse. So I'd put them with the bumpy side out, and then I'd have one on the other side, and I would hold them in place with this lovely little wristband, which is nice and stretchy and really comfortable. So you can put those in. Again, it's a smooth side that goes on your skin, and the bumpy side goes on the outside. So it's really, really easy to set up. You just decide where you want these coils to go according to the kind of treatment you're doing. And then you turn your unit on. It's really simple. So I actually did a cafe trip with my children because I wanted to test how this was going to work. And, did it give me the freedom to have PEMF while I was on tour, while I was out and about doing my shopping at the supermarket? And the answer clearly is yes. What I did was I fed these wires up my sleeve so nobody could see. All they could see was that I had this wristband on. The kit does also come with a much bigger adjustable strap, and that was really useful if you wanted to put things like around your head, around your waist, around your thigh, or something like that. And there's these big coils as well, which clip in the same way. So you'll see here. Sorry, you can tell I don't do things like this normally. I'm quite clumsy, and I don't have the same finesse as somebody on the shopping channel. But again, you've got the smooth side here and the bumpy side on the other side. So for instance, and you can look on the website. So this is actually, let me show you the website. Because before this item was sent to me, I did check it out to see if it was something I'd like to test. And of course I was like, hell yeah. And I looked at, this website has got how it works, what is PEMF therapy. It's got all the different devices, etc. Reviews. I looked at a video review. In fact, I looked at quite a few video reviews. I saw that one lady had used it on her eyesight. And so let me just remove that. She had actually used these size coils, and she'd fitted them just underneath her glasses and closed her eyes and allowed the PEMF to work on her eyes. Now, I should say outright, I'm not a doctor. I haven't had any medical training at all. I'm an intuitive astrologer, but I am also somebody who is interested in looking after my health. And, in my childhood, I had quite a few illnesses. I had some big ones. I was bedbound for about 13 months when I was in my late 20s. And I spent a lot of time on antibiotics in my 20s. Since I was around 35, I've really veered away from, the standard medical way of healing. And I always try and do it myself and look at the emotional context behind it. I'm a really big fan of homeopathy and German new medicine, which really links trauma, emotional and spiritual trauma, to the healing that we're going through, our healing crises as they occur. So yeah, there's these and the smaller ones, and then you're good to go. You just get to try it out and see what works. So yeah, for me, it was utterly brilliant. Now, one of the things I want to share with you is, I think, and I think this is really significant, is I really feel like this pulsed electromagnetic frequency, it did something inside, not just on the physical level, but on a spiritual level. I felt like I was being opened up, almost as if the changes going on inside me were maybe relaxing my system so that I could experience what I've been holding on to. Not entirely sure. In a minute, I'm going to put on the chat that I had with the top trainer, Bradley Johnson, who works with Spooky 2 products and also the MiraMate Mini Magic and all the MiraMate products. And he's an absolute expert and he's really, really fantastic. But he was talking about that we have heart walls. We have like these walls around us. We have these, where we've had pain in the past, emotional pain, we build a wall up. And yeah, I think there is a spiritual context, for me, in healing the chest infection that I had, and I was really quite poorly with. I used the MiraMate, and I felt like there was a lot of things that needed to come off my chest. Like I needed to get a lot of things off. Lots of old insecurity stuff that went way, way, way back. I mean, I am, like I said, going through my Chiron return at the moment. So some of that is I think, to be expected. But yeah, there's been a real sort of emotional clearing for me, and I feel much brighter the other side. I had to really slow down on my work. You might have noticed my channel went quite quiet during that time. And so you can tell I'm out of that period now. I'm sort of like back and raring to go. So yeah, I feel really, really cleared. And for me, that's where the biggest amount of healing has come from, because I think if you get to the emotions inside, then anything is possible. So yeah, I feel much, much better now. And I'm really, really grateful that I got to test out another fantastic product. Now, if you are curious about it, and I'm not saying this, I'm saying this from the goodness of my heart for sure. But if you did want to try this out, there is a discount code that you can see in the description fields. If you use the discount code, you'll get 5% off. I get a tiny, tiny kickback, just to be really, really transparent. I'm not sharing it with you for this reason, but I'm sharing it because I think it's a really good product from my perspective. I've tested it. I've got a good friend that uses a MiraMate, not this particular product, but a different one. He loves it. I tried it on my husband. I tried it on my daughter. I'm also really, really pleased with the Spooky 2 machines I've been working with as well. So I really do like frequency. And of course, I would, because astrology is planetary frequencies and this is electromagnetic frequency. And, the thing that I like the most is the fact that I can do it from home. I can now do it when I'm out and about. It's completely portable. It's fantastic. So it's putting it back in your own hands. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. You have to make your own decisions fully. But if you are interested, all of those details are below. But anyway, I'm going to put you into the conversation with Bradley Johnson, so you get another feel for how this works. But anyway, thanks for listening so far. And, if this has helped in your healing journey in one way or another, I'm just so pleased. So take care and speak another time. Bye for now. Bradley, how are you doing?
I'm awesome, man. It's coming up on the weekend, so have great high super energy, ready to kick this thing off.
Fantastic. So I don't know too much about you. Obviously, I've just given a little description, but I like to get to know people a lot better than what people know on the outside. So I'm just wondering if you can tell me a bit about how you got into radio frequency work in the first place.
Yeah, so I mean, I've studied, I got into IT and the kind of basics. Normally when everybody starts into IT, you start in like the help desk realm and you kind of get a feel for the industry because there's so much of the technology side that you can kind of gravitate to. And for me, in my instance, like as I worked my way up and down the OSI model, I felt very comfortable with the wireless portion of it. Like when I learned and I studied and I got all my certifications in that particular focus, something about the technology itself just resonated with me. And it was, again, I could be one of the very few people out there in the world that would be super excited about a 425-hour wireless lecture that was coming up. Like I absorbed the information very well, but I think
Yeah.
that was for purpose, uh, when God woke me up to my true purpose of helping others, and it helped me identify that all the stuff that I was passionate about, like from the radio frequency side of getting certified and using the technology for 15 or 16 years, um,
Hmm.
it helped me get ready and prepped for what I was truly supposed to use these types of waves and technologies for.
Excellent. So if I'm just trying to get this right. Were you using radio frequency in a different way before you came to use it in terms of healing and
100%. I was
wellness?
actually on the opposite side of it. I was being paid very lucratively to blanket you in wireless deployment coverage. So whether you were in a hospital or a health network or a sporting venue, I
Mhm.
was blanketing you in multiple 2.4 and 5 gigahertz coverages all day and night.
Mm. So,
Yes, I did wireless deployment and engineering for,
wow.
like I said, forever.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, do you think many people know that the wireless blanketing has a deleterious effect on humans and just life in general?
Um, I think the more people are kind of becoming conscious of the fact that they're, like the environments that they're in, the work environments that they're in, that they carry a lot of stress with them energy wise. And, us
Yeah.
as being electromagnetic beings, you absorb that energy. And so it doesn't take a whole lot of time for you to kind of start putting two and two together that, oh, the more I'm out in nature, the more I'm away from this, the better I feel just in general. And so it starts to kind of make heads and tails of things that when you're going into these work environments or these home environments even, and they're heavily saturated with wi-fi, you feel differently.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. Completely right. So, how did you come to make the decision to open? Because you've got a holistic treatment center, haven't you? What
Yes.
changed for you?
Well, honestly, I have to be brutally honest. God woke me up, man. He kind of shook me in the right direction and put me through some very interesting times and tribulations, and made me start seeking out information that I wasn't seeking out or passionate about before. And in the process of doing that, it it brought my awareness and my understanding of what I was, meant to do, or helped me identify what I
Mm.
kind of call as my calling. Like when I realized my purpose, then this was so easy and so clear. And from that point, this was in January of 2021. I was a full wireless engineer, had been full medical benefits. I had everything a type 1 diabetic would need. And here I found myself wanting to quit my job because what I was doing didn't make sense anymore. And I was
Mm.
being called to, to do what I was supposed to do and find my purpose. And the more research and work I put into it, the more I started really resonating with what I was supposed to be using these frequencies for in the right place. And from that point going forward, I manifested everything from my own LLC to my website to everything to try to help people from nothing to try to just to get to, to the point of where you are right now, where you're doing what you passionately feel like doing every single day, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. Um, I love what I do. I constantly talk to people about waking up happy and waking up with great energy, but that transition happened kind of by force. Like I can't explain it on any other way, but that occurrence of being woken up to my purpose and what I'm intended to do was to help others was immediately clear, and gave me a sense of peace and a sense of understanding. Like this is what I was meant. Like it makes the hair on my arm stand up, as you can see. Uh,
Yeah.
this is what I was meant to do. And so that's what makes it so convenient, though, is knowing that, oh, like you've been blessed with knowing how waveforms work and how this propagates and how these modulate and how all the technology works behind the scenes because he prepped me for it. And so,
Mm.
like I said, it was through those, workings in the 2021 year that I really just changed directions. By January, I was quitting my job. By March, I was owning an LLC and learning how to do web page development. And from there, I got all the way up here. We're 4 years later, and we're helping people every single day, remote from afar. We've got over 1,100 people that we successfully helped address health issues with, and it's growing
Wow.
more and more and more. And so, uh, I'm very passionate about what I do, and I love training and helping others too. So anytime, like I said, I get the opportunity to come on and talk about technology like this, or how it can help people, or how people can purchase stuff like this to bring into their own lives and improve their
Yeah.
quality of life. This is exactly what I'm intended to try to do.
Well, that's amazing, isn't it? I love the fact that you have, well, like you said, you were awoken to your true purpose, but you were already doing your true purpose. You were doing all the
Yeah.
learning of it behind the scenes. It's remarkable, isn't it? How people often find themselves in those roles to then later have all the knowledge they need to be able to make that final
You
connection.
guided your pathway that whole time, whether you know
Yeah.
it or not, and the stuff you
Yes.
soak up and the stuff you absorb, from the mistakes you make and from the lessons you learn and the things that you acquire as information over your lifestyle. Yeah, they guide you, to like I said, hopefully helping you identify similar to what I have as to what are you meant here? What's your purpose here? Why are you supposed to be here?
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I love that, Brad, so much. When did you
Okay.
first learn about pulsed electromagnetic frequencies, PEMF?
So PEMF technologies have been around forever, but the
Mhm.
benefits of kind of using them on a holistic side started primarily for me around 2018 when I started kind of purchasing different products and integrating them into my house and using them for, again, my own situations of dealing with this problem or that problem, or hey, let's try this for that, or you know. The PEMF technology is very, very, very simple to do technology wise. You'd simply plug it in and let it pulse its, frequencies into your body. And so the
Wow.
different options of, things that you can kind of learn and experience with the PEMF technology kind of just took off from there, but really started getting serious around 2018.
Wow. Um, so I've got one at the moment that I'm testing out,
Yeah,
the MiraMate Mini Magic,
indeed.
and
Yep,
I've been it's mini, but I've already noticed changes in my own experience.
absolutely.
Really, really,
Well,
really good.
that's
I
the
was
beautiful
just
part
wondering if
about
you
it
could
is,
go
it
on.
can be mini, and again, but the things that it can offer, as you see on it, it has three different setting options. So
Yeah.
depending upon your sensitivity levels, it can't be, shouldn't be too overwhelming. But the fact that you can take this on the go and the portability
Mm.
was a whole game changer for me because, like even when, for example, a lot of individuals suffer from like fibromyalgia or issues like that when weather storms or pressure fronts move
Mm.
across the system. Having something like this that you can just clip onto your hip and have attached to your body that can alleviate these issues, you get your whole day back. This is a change in how you can kind of use these things on a day-to-day basis, depending upon what your environment yields.
I took it on a cafe trip with my kids, and
Okay.
I was able to function normally. It was perfect. It was really, really good. So, I mean, what kind of things can you use the MiraMate Mini Magic for?
So the
Like
mini magic,
I've
like
been
again,
sorry. I mean,
go
I've
ahead.
been using it for, I had sinusitis,
Yeah,
which really got me down because my whole forehead was really, really sore.
breaking
And,
out.
when I
Yeah,
looked online, there was so many people that were saying, oh, yeah, it can take up to 2 weeks to get rid of. And I really didn't want to go and get antibiotics or anything like that. I wanted to work naturally with it. And so I was
yep,
using this with, and I can show with these, and maybe
yep.
you can explain
Coils.
what they are. But I was
Yeah,
having
they're
these
just
on
coils.
their coils.
Yeah,
So I had
and so
coils on
when
my
you
forehead.
position those, like for example, like I like wearing bandanas a lot, so I tuck them into bandanas if you have like
Uh-huh.
headaches, if you've got issues in the body, like they are a means of pulsing the frequencies into the body wherever you place them. So
Mhm.
specifically, let's assume that you accidentally rolled your ankle and you have a swollen ankle. You can place one on the inside and outside of the ankles, and and just kind of use an ace bandage to tape them up or keep them in place. You can position them anywhere on the body relative to the issues that you're trying to address, and you don't have to have, like I said, a lot of the complicated stuff like different frequencies and things like that. Just place and
Mm.
use.
Yeah, I mean, I found it very easy. I mean, I've only had it on the third setting. I've just kept it on there. I mean, are
Well, and
there
that's what most people kind
advantages?
of work up to. Like more people who are sensitive, and particularly like when children are using these things,
Mhm.
you generally will use them on the lower 1 or 2 settings. But
Oh.
when you start getting more tolerant of it, I always go with 3.
I have actually used this on my daughter. She had a chest infection, and I used it 3 times on her, and it cleared up really, really fast. Um,
Quick.
yeah, really, really quick, and it's just non-invasive. That's what I
Yep.
really like about it.
Right.
Um,
And again, like not a whole lot of requirements to do it other than adhere to the body, pick your power level, and go. It's simple.
So I'm hearing that you can use it for, like if you sprain your wrist, and obviously I've been using it for chronic headaches and things. Um,
Yeah.
what about things like toxicity and like where our bodies just aren't, we might not be sick, but we might not
Yeah.
be in the best condition. Is there
Well,
something
and
you
again,
might
like the
recommend?
beautiful part about how most of these work is that ability to pulse those frequencies in. Like normally most of the technologies are going to use like a low hertz frequency to pulse, like similar to what we're using here with MiraMate products. They most primarily use the Schumann resonance where they pulse a grounding type frequency into the body. So
Yeah,
this is the primary reason why a lot of the times, like I said, when you are out in the world and you're interacting with some of the wireless and the other high electrical output things in our world, you have a tendency of bringing those home with you, and then all of a sudden you introduce a device like this that can start regulating and neutralizing that stuff without a lot of complications or anything like that. Its method of delivery for easing the body is very simple to do.
so what I'm hearing is to ease the passage from being in one environment and then into another, and to kind of
Correct.
like shrug things off. Like you might take your coat off, you might take your shoes off, but you're still carrying that energy around with you.
Correct. And that's 100% correct. And furthermore, let's assume that you carry this energy with you through the course of the day. And now you're ready for bed and you're stressed out and you're still carrying this energy with you. Now you're not really getting that restorative delta level sleep that you need. So you're tossing, you're turning, you wake up exhausted, and you're carrying the energies from the day before with you the next day.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. So, um,
But
in
this is
your
a great way in an application, like for example, sleep applications. These are the PEMF device is wonderful. I put them on like my lower back normally right before I go to bed. I have them run for a short session or two, and then I'm ready to go to bed.
right, okay, and so are you doing that as a therapeutic as opposed
Yeah,
to
well, just kind of like I
curing?
said, like you're going to pick up energies through the hecticness of your day. I'm
Mm.
using this kind of as a let's just kind of alleviate any of the stresses of what we have picked up as a I want to go to bed and sleep good
Oh,
type
no, that
approach.
makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Um, so you mentioned that they're like electromagnetic, like pulsed electromagnetic frequencies, and
Yep.
my understanding is that we are electromagnetic beings, but I can't really
Yes.
talk about that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, and just like what you're talking about, we are energetic by nature. So now when you start introducing frequencies into your body, whether it's pulsing them in or you're placing them in specific areas, or you're sitting on something like the magic mat that you can pulse the things up into your body while you sit or lay on it,
Mm.
that again, us being electromagnetic, we absorb those frequencies. So when you're imbalanced or when you're overworked or when you're stressed or when you have some of these lower vibrational issues that just won't go away, these are very simple means for being able to introduce these median frequencies that'll kind of negate all that and help you kind of get back to a more balanced approach and a better lifestyle.
Wow. Okay. And so, yeah, I guess that is treating you as an energetic being. And of course, if you go to not, I don't want to dismiss the other forms of medicine that loads of people use. But I don't think, when you go to a doctor looks at you and says, you're an energetic being. Wow. How can I
Not
treat your
yeah,
energy? I don't think
right.
that's how that's working, is it?
Well, no, but that's what I'm trying to say is that like in all of our lives as energetic beings, you're going to find this perfect balance between what you pick up through the course of the day and getting back to this perfect level of balanced and detoxification to kind of keep you upright throughout the course of the day. Now,
Mhm.
some days you may take on more weight. It's going to keep you to make you to force you to adjust. But no matter what, this is how you use systems like this to say, oh, I'm noticing symptoms of this, or I want to incorporate this, or I want to use this to negate that symptom. And it helps you stay balanced.
Mm. I love this so much. Now, assuming, assuming that we can get our energies rebalanced
Yep.
and recalibrated, and we can shake off things.
Right.
Can we also use it to start visualizing or to work with our visualizations of how we might want to feel?
Well, sure, not just visualizations, but manifestations, the ability to visually put yourself into a somewhere or something that you want to achieve and accomplish 100%. Now, let's do this case in point. Like we talked about the stresses of the day, you put this thing on a couple minutes before bed and you run it for a couple minutes. Now we can negate everything. So your quality of sleep starts becoming better.
Mm,
Now, when you wake up the next morning, you're going on a trip, you're going somewhere, you bring this thing with you and help enhance those features on the go. It's
mm.
portable.
Well, I'm thinking you could meditate with it at the same time.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Now,
definitely.
I don't mean to sound shallow, but I'm going to. Um, you know, I'm thinking not just like restoring my health, but I've just turned 50 recently, and I'm starting to notice that I'm feeling a bit older. I'm starting to look a bit more haggard. I'm putting weight on a bit faster as
Sure.
I'm hitting the menopause. Does this also help to maybe get us back in shape? Does it help?
So it's not gonna like put on and make you like decide to lose weight. It won't do that. It's not magic, you know.
No, okay.
But what
Even
it
though it's
can do,
even though it's called the mirror magic, it's not
it
magic.
can, not
Oh,
that kind of magic. That's
okay.
a little weirder. But what it can do though is, like I said, this can help negate some of these issues that keep you from getting in that right state of mind of saying, am I eating healthy? Am I working out? Am I
Mm,
doing the things that my body needs to as I get older to help make sure that I'm prolonging my life? You know,
mm,
again, something like this where as you get older, something that's really common is arthritis or even inflammation, things like that. This is a means of negating that so that we're no
mm,
longer suffering and dealing with that. And the energies that we spend with, you know, worrying with these things that are constantly going on in our body, when you can negate those, then that means that those cells are now free to do other things in your body. And this is
mm,
exactly kind of what the whole point and purpose of this is that when you use this to kind of balance off those, like I said, the harshnesses of the day, and we get back to balance. Now, the way that we repair when we sleep, the way that we energize when we're using this thing more effectively, it helps us kind of keep in that avenue with regards to these are the energies that I want to be around with versus these are the ones that don't want to stay away from.
yeah. No, thank you. That really clears it up. But I mean, one thing I noticed when I started testing and using the Spooky 2 was that my mood improved really quickly. That was the most significant change. When I was doing their terrain, their sort of like 11-day cleanse, I
Yep.
noticed my mindset changed. I
Yes.
felt a lot more capable, a lot more positive. There was definitely a change in the way I was feeling, and I felt like I was able to make changes in my life in quite a big way. So you're right. And I remember only very, very recently with sinusitis, when you're in pain, it ages you. I mean, I was like this the whole time.
Sure, and you get stressed and you're worrying about it, and it's very taxing on the body. So again, particularly with Spooky 2 and even more so with the MiraMate products, like I said, and their portability options, this is a kind of a game changer with regards to
Yeah.
simplicity that you can kind of stand in, introduce it into the house. And again, it's not for every situation. And again, it's like kind of like what you're talking about, the uniqueness of Spooky 2 and their ability to kind of fine tune, oh, that frequency for this, that's a whole nother level. We can take you there as
Yes.
well. But for, like I said, for most people that are beginning and or just looking to kind of have that right balance, this is a great way of kind of introducing this type of PEMF technologies into the house to kind of, like I said, start improving your overall quality of life. I always try to use this basic common example, like, what do you have to lose from trying it?
Exactly. Now, I noticed, I will wrap this up in a minute because this has been
Yeah.
brilliant. This has been really, really great. I really like connecting with you. I noticed you got dogs because
Yes.
just before we went live, your little pooches came behind. I'm guessing, given its size and its manageability, it's quite helpful for your dogs. Do you use these on your animals?
Sometimes. Again, like I use them when they're, again, like for example, sleeping issues. Like I can
Mhm.
turn this thing on in the bedroom and just let the coils sit there, and wherever they lay, they will pulse up and help keep them negated or being so restless through the course of the night. Because I do have multiple dogs, we generally will have to get up 1 or 2 times throughout the course of the night to let them out. So if we can turn something like that on, or like I said, if it gets really bad, then you have things like your amplified scalar with Spooky 2. But there are always options like this to kind of help negate like I said, the why isn't everybody sleeping or acting the way that they should. But animals are far more sensitive to frequencies, and I use them almost as a guide to help tell me, yeah, this is definitely, they're definitely noticing this. Their behavioral changes are very, very clear when you're using frequencies with animals.
Oh, fantastic. Brad, thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today about this. Can I call on you another time to maybe have another deep dive, an even
Absolutely.
deeper dive? I've enjoyed
100%.
this. I guess what I'd really like to do maybe in another episode is maybe talk about like a pathway that someone might follow if they wanted to just improve the health. Maybe if there's nothing particularly going wrong, but they just want to
Yes.
boost
Well, trust me, and
their
that's
life.
the beautiful part about these particular products, regardless if we're talking about MiraMate or Spooky 2, they allow you to carve out your own unique pathway back to restoring your DNA. And when you can do that, then like I said, you raise up your vibrational frequency, you start having a better quality of life, and it is incredible.
Wow, thank you so much. Before you go, can I just
Uh-huh.
do a quick plug for your website or
Oh,
bring your
sure,
website
absolutely.
up? Because I'm sure people will want to say hello and talk to you directly.
Yep.
So I'm just bringing up your website there.
Yep.
Where? I mean, I can see here it says in-person contact sessions.
Yep.
What can people get from your website?
So
Um,
again, the website was self-designed. It primarily helps people understand the frequency services that I offer, whether they're doing them from afar on remote, or they're scheduling in-person sessions or coming to do plasma. I also
mhm.
do a lot of things like contrast therapy with sauna and cold plunge. We
Oh
do
wow!
scalar and massage therapy and deep zero gravity chairs. So there are a lot of different things. Sound resonant healing with tuning forks.
Oh wow!
All of that can be found right here on the website. In addition to that, I also list information with regards to getting trained. So on the Spooky 2 link
Mhm.
on the far right hand side, if you're interested in starting this or understanding how to bring this into your house, I will show you and train you how to use it as I have learned over the years, as well as give you access to any of my recordings that I've done as a gold certified trainer on behalf of Spooky 2.
Wow. Excellent. That's amazing. Thank you so very much
Absolutely.
for running
Thank
me
you
through that,
very much
Brad.
for the opportunity.
You're so welcome. Lots of love.
Need a daily reset? Join us, Carl and Louisa Munson, for The Moment, your space to pause, reflect, and recharge.
Live every weekday, we dive into consciousness, chat with fascinating guests, and share real techniques to help you relax and step into your best self.
So come join the conversation, because the present moment is where the magic happens.